Hello, planning posse people. This is Flora Sage, and this is your bonus interview for this month. And I'm so excited to introduce you to Jessica Valor. She is a fellow spirit junkie. She is a fellow coach and teacher and healer, and she is such an amazing woman. I've been following her work for a long time, and I'm so excited to be able to share her work with you today, and also to have her share with you some of her tips and tricks about how she creates the life that she absolutely loves on her terms. And so, welcome, Jessica. Yay!
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
Hello, all of you Planning Posse loves.
Yay!
I'm so excited for you and all of the things that you're doing in the world. And I always just like to start out by saying how much I honor each of you because you have chosen to live on Earth at a very magnificent time. And that you're a beautiful, beautiful leader of light. And I honor each of you so much for your contribution. So thank you.
Yay! So, why don't you start off by sharing with our tribe, our posse, a little bit about who you are and what you do and how you serve the world?
Yeah, so I'm Jessica Valor. I'm an oracle. I speak mostly for Ascended Masters, but also just all of Spirit Realm, but really a channeler for Ascended Masters to support you in your roles that you're playing at this time. And I also am a healer. Work with ascended healing, just very efficient ways of healing in this new paradigm. And I'm a transformational coach, and I help women who are really on a spiritual journey and, getting started, whether they're in a career or an entrepreneur, just helping them, through that process so they can, mentoring them through that process so they can really show up fully and feel supported is the big thing. And know that it really sucks if you feel alone in the world. So knowing you're not alone and having that backbone while you fully show up. So I feel like we all kind of need that. I know I do. So.
Oh, yes. Well, yeah, and
So,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned about support because a lot of people don't have support, and a lot of people try to get stuff done, and they try to create the life that they want, and they can't. They have a really like no matter how much and how hard they try, it just won't stick. So, speaking of that, tell us your experience about planning in the past, and what you've tried, and what your experience is, and what some of your challenges may have been.
Yeah, so I've always been super organized. So that's one thing that I have in my corner is I've always been very organized. And so before I stepped fully into my purpose now, which was in July of 2014, I ran a medical gas business, and I was the vice president of this business, and we grew it. I moved to Minnesota about 9 years ago now, and I worked there for 6 years, and I grew it from 12 clients to 400, and we have very large accounts. So like hospitals, mechanical contractors, and everything in that position is a small business, but also a corporation. Mm-hmm. And in that business, I self-taught myself everything, or I hired a consultant to hands-on teach me what I needed to learn. So I really have always my mom said I wanted my own apartment when I was 3 months old, like when I came out of the womb, I'm like, give me a place. So I feel like if you're an entrepreneur, you get that, you know what I mean? You're always just like, let's do this thing, let's jump, so I had that kind of thing for me. And then when I stepped fully into what I do now, I moved into this virtual world. And it was a whole nother playground of learning because then there's all these systems, which I found after about a year. I was like, I wish I'd had these things in that business. It could have even grown that business. So interesting. But I think that, you need your programs. You need your systems in place. There's so much you can DIY, but you still really need those systems. And I know, for me, I'm a big, huge user of Excel in the best ways it can support you. I use QuickBooks for my accounting, for my bookkeeping, and then I still do my own taxes with TurboTax, because I can handle it. I'm also a 100% bona fide delegator because I'm not a control freak. Mm-hmm. I used to I realized letting go in your business and delegating to a team with the right people not only creates prosperity for more people, but it sure does create more money, time, and freedom for yourself.
Yes.
So being a master delegator, and I know everybody's on a different budget, and I've had, no money, zero money, and lots of money. And it's about what can you do with where you're at. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important as entrepreneurs in this planning process, you have to detach from the outcomes. You can't need them to happen. Mm-hmm. You have the strong desire, and that's how you stay in the vortex of bringing that into physical form. Because your desired outcome is to help people. That's what we all want to do, is to make a lot of money doing it. We all want that. But you have to not need any of it and stay with that present moment. And I feel like if anything that you do in your planning is to make sure that with every breath you take, you're in the vortex of why you're doing what you're doing. And I think that if I can give you any big piece of advice today, that's the number one thing to like. And if you're working and you're doing things and it's a hard push and it feels, get up, take a moment, even if it's 30 seconds, you don't want to bring that energy because you're then literally like telling that GPS of the universe and you're spinning your car, right? You're spinning your business in circles and you're not going anywhere. So really being clear on this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And yes, you're calling in those X amount of clients, but it's not why are you calling in those clients in the planning process? What is the experience that they're going to have? Okay, how is it going to change their lives and then change the lives of the people that they know? Because that's what you're really on the planet for, is to create this widespread transformation. So I feel like those are, some of the things that, in my past I'm kind of sharing, and then so I'm finding my train of thought again. And then, staying present, and then time chunking is everything. Yes. Time chunking is everything. I time chunk like all things, and they're in my Google Calendar, and I really believe in a Google Calendar and, whatever kind of online calendar you have. And then I also have a Daniel Laporte planner because it's my favorite. And I have a wall calendar, and my wall calendar is like my bigger launches. It's like the whole year. It's got the vacations. That's important, right? Because that's what we're working towards is the fun.
Yep.
And it's the launch dates, right? The launch dates. And then, the bigger things or when you're going to get your book in the world or whatever it is you're doing.
Yep.
And there's not all the priorities, but there's the bigger picture. And there's something about having the energy of that on the wall that feels really empowering to me and focused, because it's like, that's what I'm doing this year. Mm-hmm. Instead of trying to, right? And then underneath that, I have a very small, like, kind of bulletin board that is my sales funnel printed out, which is one sheet of small paper of what I'm focusing on and why. Mm-hmm. And then I have all these beautiful things around it that are like affirmations. And it's in Excel. And it's like, here's my Ascended Healers Academy. These are the people I'm calling forward. This is why I'm calling them forward in a sentence. And this is what I'm going to make and contribute for my contribution to these people. Mm-hmm. And you have that sales funnel just in a snapshot, and there's the energy of that in your office all day.
Yes.
And I have my Daniel Laporte in addition to my Google Calendar, because if you're a visionary, I need to write things, okay? And visionaries are like this. We're all over the place. And so if you're an entrepreneur, you're probably a visionary. So we got to rope it in. Yep. And what I love about Daniel Laporte is I had all the sticky notes all over my computer, is there's priorities and there's to-dos, and there's how do you feel? How do you feel? Yes. How do you feel? And it's all about how you feel. And I don't know, ever since I've created that particular system that works for me, and I also will say one other thing, too, that I use is Asana. Mm-hmm. Asana is a free project management software that changed my life. And if you don't use Asana or something like it, I highly recommend it, because you can use it for your personal life, your business. I use it with my own coaching clients, and everyone loves it. And I think even if you have clients and you have a lot of projects, it's only like $20 a month.
Yeah.
But, it's free for you for a lot of stuff. And then if you have an idea, you can plug it into this space and you can expand upon things, but you're still staying on top of those priorities. And you can rearrange the dates that things are due and have everything in one place. So there's a lot more flow. And then your inbox is pretty much, my inbox stays empty.
Nice.
I don't even allow my inbox to fill there's clients, but that's it.
Yeah.
It's not anything. I don't deal with like any too much correspondence, right? In Asana, so that it's clear.
Nice.
Yeah, time chunking, and I think that in my calendar, for example, like in the first thing in the morning, I meditate. I think that all people should meditate first thing in the morning, even if it's just for 5 minutes
Yes.
or 2 minutes. What I have, because of what I do for a living, I meditate for an hour every morning. But that's, I'm in the vortex and I'm helping people stay in the vortex. And so for what I do, I spend an inordinate amount of time in meditation. But it makes my business successful, and it makes me successful at helping people do those things. And so I have what's called self-love in my Google Calendar, and I have a list of the things that I'm currently meditating upon, and then my body love, so what I'm doing for workouts, and then my day, chunked out. And I only see clients 2 days a week. It's like, and I see them back to back to back to back, because then you're in the zone. Of seeing your clients, you know what I mean? And then you're not like seeing a client, having to hold space and energy, go write some program, come back to it. That's really not serving you, because if it's all about energy, then you need to focus upon what's really going on. So it's like, what are your back end days for your business, or if you have a team, what are you doing with your team that they need from you on those days? What days are you recording videos? What days are you actually seeing clients, or so.
Nice. Nice. Wow, this is so amazing. So you mentioned Danielle Laporte's planner and how she mentions feelings. So let's kind of expand on that a little bit. When was that pivotal moment in your life? Because it sounds, okay, so no matter how organized you are, there is a time where we all feel disheveled and disorganized, where shit hits the fan and we're like, holy fuck, what is happening to my life? I have to get my ass in gear and figure out what to do. So share with us a pivotal moment in your life that you really just felt like you didn't feel good, and you knew that you needed to dial in and lock down systems to help you stay focused, to really help you, just like I said, dial in and stay focused. What was that pivotal experience and that feeling that you felt that you were just like, no, I have to finally do something here?
Oh, let me think. Well, like I said, I've always just naturally been organized. I'm just naturally in that space. I mean, like the Container Store probably is my biggest turn on it.
It's like your mecca.
Like, my boyfriend be like, "Do you want to go? You want to go to the Container Store?" I'm like, "Yes." If I can put it in a box, a basket, and light a candle, it's a good day. It's a good day. So I don't know. But as far as I think you're as a student of life, and there's always, I believe, as when we're teaching, really, we're just always a student. That's what I believe, and I really learned that from Wayne Dyer. And he's I channel for him a lot, and I'm very close with him. And it's the biggest thing is like, how can you show up every day in your pivotal moments and non-pivotal moments, saying, how can I learn from every single person that I meet?
Yes.
And that's how we're really, and how can I add value to their life, right? How can I learn from you, and how can I add value to your life? And that's how we're really being the teacher, right? Is by practicing the student. And I think as an entrepreneur or a business owner, every day you learn something new. I mean, every day you learn something new, or how you can improve your Facebook ad or reach versus, and it just depends. And I think too, as you grow, you cannot do this alone. And why would you ever want to?
Right.
That sucks. And there's so much power. Like, if you can't help this person, please, God, refer them to the person that that can, because that's what it's all about, is that energy alignment. It's like, and when you can afford to hire the Facebook ad experts and this coach that does that and this healer that does that, then you do that, because it's just part of these experiences that you're having in your journey. And one thing I always say, and if you listen to me, any of my videos, you'll hear a lot, is I always say, this is the soul's journey. We're always evolving our soul and ascending our energy. And that never ends, not even in spirit form. So you're always learning something new to share that wisdom with others, and you always that's why you always have these desires to grow, right? Well, then I want this. And it doesn't mean the bigger house, but it means how am I going to expand? And then knowing when to contract while you're growing. Because people think that they need to, you're not always in expansion. Sometimes you need to contract. And I think we're all going to have shit hit the fan. I mean, I could talk about that for days. I mean, I've gone through bankruptcy twice. I've almost foreclosed on my house, growing my business. I have literally borrowed money from groceries for certain months. I've had a 6-figure income. I've had no income. I have, been super fit and then gained 50 pounds, through the process. I mean, you name it, like failed relationships, 4 major failed relationships in 10 years. And I mean, I think the point is that you came to this planet to be who you are, and that everything that you do here called purpose, like, okay, what's my purpose, it's like a little movie reel projection. And it's all what script you want to continue writing. And so when you can detach from, no, I don't want to finish that movie and it doesn't matter, okay, because it really doesn't matter. What matters is that you're in alignment with your vibration of your highest self, and you're sharing that energy with others, and you're, choosing love over fear, like Marianne says, right? Yep. Being in that space, being the lighthouse. And these pivotal things, if you can become the observer as much as possible, even though you're in pain, and don't push through, but become the observer and say, what is the solution I can have while still divinely, intelligently processing those emotions? You're gonna be able to heal that a lot faster, right? You're gonna be able to stay in the vortex, right? Is what we say, and you're gonna be able to continue to expand and grow. But if you sit and detach to an experience of pain or trauma, you're gonna get stuck. And you're just really wasting your time for what you came here to do. Yeah. Is it a wrong choice? No, there's really not any wrong choices. Do you know what I mean? Oh yeah. But it's not getting you. If you're telling this GPS, I'm going to New Orleans, right? And then you keep telling it to go somewhere else, then you're gonna spin it around. But you're still gonna go to New Orleans whenever you decide you want to get back on track and go there. So. Does that help? And it's like a long explanation.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Because a lot of people in the planning posse, they have this vision of their life, and they're like, yes, this is what I want to do. But they keep getting these reroutes. They keep getting the divorce or the bankruptcy or the dog dying, or they get sick, or they have to move. I mean, just all kinds of random stuff. And they keep getting rerouted, and that's the thing that a lot of people get kicked off about, is that they're just like, I'm trying to stay focused, but life happens. And what I hear you saying is that, yeah, it does happen, but you know what? You're still going to be going into that right path. There is no wrong directions. There is no detour. It really is that's just part of the journey. But if you stay true to who you are and who you really are meant to be, and your purpose, which is just being here and just living as authentically as you can every single day, you're still going to end up in the same place, but you're going to be that much richer for it, because both metaphorically and physically, because every single one of these reroutes brings us to a place of clarity about, yes, I really love this, or I really don't love this, and this is why.
Yeah. I mean, and I think, it's my dog, one of my lab passed just a few months ago, and like, I get it, you have these things and you're like, everything's awesome in life, and then boom, you feel like you're knocked off your wagon. Yeah. But here's the thing, you're not really knocked off your wagon, right? But you're having an experience that you are, but you're going through grieving. You chose these experiences. I feel like some things you choose before you come here, and some things are free will. Yep. So I believe that messy, but I believe that the mess is the beauty, right? Because it's how we're able to kind of palette our life. And it's like, if something, quote, quote, say it bad happens, but is it really bad if your dog passes? Okay, sure, it's a bad experience in that moment, and it's really sad, and it's going to take the time that it takes to grieve it. But what about all of the beautiful experiences that you had with that pooch until that day? And that's, again, what you have to focus on, is the good things and the positive outcomes and the energy of that. Because the truth is, your pooch is just right beside you in spirit form. Yep. Your pooch is never going to leave. and you go through a really traumatic breakup, a divorce, those are the worst pain, right? Because, or losing loved ones, because the grieving process and the pain, even the physical reaction of someone dying versus a breakup, it's the same actual physical reaction in the body. And so you literally feel like you're going to die, and you don't know how to process it. You have to honor your experiences, and remember, everything begins and ends in love. Yes. And even if things end really messy, at one point in time, you really did love that person. Yes. Okay? And here's the thing. Maybe you don't see all the past lives and all the layers and all the karma and all the other stuff, and maybe you want to see it. Maybe you don't even need to. Sometimes it doesn't matter. And it's about patching from that experience, praying for that person's happiness and peace and prosperity, even when you're super fucking pissed off at them. Okay? Yes. And do it anyway, because what you're doing is you're actually shifting the energy inside of you, and you're putting your ass back in the vortex so that you can stay in alignment and attract the right partner that is the good person for you to spend your life with, or maybe you have more than one partner in life, Yeah. We do. It's not like this be all end all. And remember this, that once you cross back into spirit form, we're all together. Yep. We're all together, and all this bullshit that happened here, it's not even a thing. Yeah. So think about that, like it's an experience. At the same time, honor those emotions and heal them. They're surfacing. But try to detach from the actual experience. Honor those emotions and become this observer at the same time, and you will win at everything in life. And you will be it's the bounce back, right? Because shit will inevitably always happen. But it's how can you bounce back? Yep. How can you get back in the vortex and align with what you're here to do? So
absolutely. Yeah. Well, and that actually segues perfectly into my next question is, having life happen and doing your work, doing the work, and having these spiritual experiences and all the mundane things, because the mundane really is spiritual if you let it, and if you're open to the wisdom of it, but then also trying to run a business or trying to run a household and everything. So share with us a tip or two about how you kind of create that harmony within life, kind of the messiness of it, and still working within the systems that you've set up with your planning and your business and delegating and all that jazz. So how do you create that harmony in your life?
Well, again, the number one thing is going to be to meditate every morning. And, people think, oh, I don't have time to meditate. You don't have time not to. Yes. And meditation to me, please don't think of it as like, I have to sit on this pillow and I have to do this thing. And it's all meditation is connecting to your higher self, connecting to your energy, and getting in that space where you really feel like you brought that into your body, and you're grounding that. And then you're going to be much more flexible in your day when here's a kid coming up sick, or somebody's, throwing a ball through the window, whatever, the dog puked on the carpet. I mean, then you're going to be able to be more in the flow of the rhythm of life. And you must do self-love care. Yes. Loving yourself, yes, but you must take care of yourself, especially I'm a puppy mom, I'm not a mom, but I have a lot of clients that are mommypreneurs, and you have to take time for yourself and not feel guilty about it. Yeah. Because for you to be fully present with your kids or your spouse or your clients, you have to take care of you. And you're number one in that. And if it's a hot bath and the kid's sitting on the floor playing toys, and that's what it is. Yep. Find what works for you. Everyone has their own rhythm. And don't try to adhere to some, particular other person. Don't compare yourself. Find what works with you. Maybe your meditation, I prefer you meditate in the morning because that's how you stay the flow of the day. You can meditate at night. And it could be that you're laying in bed. I meditate in bed. I set my alarm really early, and I turn it back off, and I go right into the vortex, and I lay on my biomat, and I do it in bed. Okay?
Me too. Me too.
Right. So
I love it.
Your thing is, it's just, you need to do that, and you have to stick to your time chunking, but you have to also be flexible when you have people that you're taking care of. When you have littles, you have to be flexible, and this goes right back to detaching from outcomes and remembering my mompreneurs always struggle. It's like, well, but your purpose is being a mom, okay?
Yeah.
And then your other purpose, your other movie reel, is having this business and serving these people. You have like 5 movies that you're producing.
Mm-hmm.
So be gentle with yourself and flexible, and know that you're not saying no to your business or no to your kids. You're just kind of in this rhythmic dance of this whole experience. And this is my life motto, and I mean it in like the most loving way. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. Detach from it, because all that matters is love.
Yes.
And if your kid needs you, then that's what needs to happen. And you just move.
Yep.
And ebb, flow. So those are the things. Get in the vortex. Be flexible and detach from the outcomes.
Yeah.
And be patient. Like, people think, I listen to a lot of Esther Hicks. I don't listen to many people, but I'm a big Esther fan, and I just love it. And people we're so impatient about the physical manifestations.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard Esther talking the other day about, well, if you go you plant corn in your backyard, and you go outside later in the afternoon and it hasn't grown yet, what are you going to do? Dig it up and try to eat the kernels that are in the ground, or are you going to let it grow? So that's the attachment, though. And all humans do that. It's like, if you want it, you got to plant the seeds and then just breathe and enjoy your life. And if you're not enjoying your life, you need to take stock, and you need to find out what's going on. Because if you're not enjoying your life, you need to make changes.
Yeah.
And you need to shift your planning and find out what really does, what your bigger yes is. Because if you don't do that, then why are you doing any of this?
Yeah.
What's the point of it? And you're not going to get to where you want to be if you're not enjoying any of it.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and oh my God, I just love everything you just said. I had goosebumps the whole time. I'm like, yay! Well, and that's just the thing, is that I actually have a class called Balance versus Harmony, and I always liken balance to being on a balance beam. It's really not even possible. I mean, you make one mistake, you're on your ass, But harmony, it's really much like this band or this dance, where some things are going to be on the back burner and other things take center stage. And that's how I think we all should live life. And those big goals that we have, those big Mount Everests that we want to climb, you only do it one step at a time. I actually was recently sharing a story about my oldest son. For band, he needed to take piano lessons. And first lesson out of the gate, he tells the teacher, I want to learn how to play Fur Elise. Well, Fur Elise is that song. Well, that's an advanced piece. And she didn't say, no, that's too advanced. She said 2 words. Okay. Well, actually, like 1 word. Okay. She said, okay. So she makes copies and she tapes it all together. And there's this ginormous accordion of paper. But she folds it all up and she sets it down, and she taught him that song 1 measure at a time. 1 measure at a time. That's it. That's all we have to focus on, is one thing at a time. Whatever is taking center stage that day. That's it. And he ended up playing. He didn't even need his music when it came time for the recital. He just like literally sat down, looked at the keyboard, and just played. And I was like, just bawling, because here's this first student, like first year piano student. But that's what he wanted to play, and that is as you were sharing what you said, that's the kind of the image that I felt, was that, life can be as big or as small as we make it, but the key is to figure out what you want and just do it. And then let life happen and go with the flow. Give yourself permission to take those detours and bring yourself back to self-love every day. And I love myself enough to continue on this path that I know that I'm meant to be on. So good.
Yes, and if you focus on you desire what the outcome is that you want, but if you're focusing on that, or like, why don't I have those clients yet, or why don't I have lost 20 pounds, or whatever it is for you, why don't I have my partner? Well, you're not staying present and enjoying the experience of all of the steps that you're taking towards that. You're not going to get that.
Right.
So, and it will take twice as long. It'll be really hard, really painful.
Yep.
So if you can say, oh my God, I really want these 20 clients for this thing, and I'm just detached, and like I send out all the love, and and writing it down, and I'm just going to show up every day and do my priorities and my Facebook ad or whatever it is, right? And enjoy each step of the process, then that's good. Even if it's something you don't like, where can you find gratitude that it is bringing you to what you want, right?
Yes.
and not trying to like build Rome in a day. Please, women,
Yes.
stop doing that because we can't.
Right?
We, we will
Yeah.
save the world, but we're all going to do it together, one
Yes.
day at a time.
Yes. Well, and I love that you mentioned that. Just let it go, because that's the thing, is that when you put it out there, when you have a plan, say, yes, by the end of the year, I want to write that book, and you have it up on your calendar. I too have a very full wall, like calendar right up there, and I can see
Yeah.
my entire year because it's at a glance. It takes the pressure off because you know by the end of the year this is going to happen, and you let it go, and Spirit's going to guide you to those action steps that you need to take throughout the year. And you don't have to rush it. You don't have to, like you said, build Rome in a day, because we've all been there where we pushed and pushed and pushed, and then we knock ourselves on our ass. We get sick or something happens where we can't work, and we have to take that break. So, yeah, I absolutely agree with you.
And being flexible with that, too. I know, like, some clients I've had, it's like, well, I didn't get to this year, and they beat themselves up because they didn't get their book written or this. I'm like, that's okay. Like, you had a baby, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
That's huge.
Maybe next year. Remember, again, detaching. So it's like you can have the vision, but there's so many moving pieces, and no matter what, you're enough. You're more than enough. You're whole, and you don't have to do anything on this planet to you. I mean, that's your soul craves to, so you will, but you don't have. There's nothing required.
Right.
There's nothing required from you. So I think that's very freeing. Like, oh, I am really enough, and I don't have to do anything. I don't have to earn anything or deserve anything. I could just be here,
Yeah. Yep.
And that's it, because whoever's going to work with you or come into your life is there because of you, because of your energy, and that's it.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and I was going to ask you a question. What was your biggest lesson in your journey so far? And to me, it just keeps going back to self-love. And so I think I know the answer to that one.
My biggest lesson of all things in life and business is to trust myself.
Yes.
That's the number one thing. And it's a lot of, I may have put this on my Facebook post today, but channeled message from Moses, because I've been working very closely with Moses for about 3 years. And Moses talks to me about, like, Moses represents faith, but it's not really about the faith in God, because if you really look at the story of Moses had to believe that he didn't believe in magic or God or anything, and so this bush starts burning and talking to him. Moses had to believe in himself. Moses had to trust himself no matter what, and lead hundreds of thousands of people to a water's edge and go, I know that sea is going to part for them, or I'm going to have blood on my hands. So you have to trust yourself. So think about Moses. You don't have 100,000 people you're leading to a water's edge to part a sea. So whatever you're doing, trust me, you got it. And think about Moses and just see that picture, and like how he believed in himself so much, and he trusted himself, that he was so connected to his higher self and his relationship with God or source or whatever you want to call that, whatever your beliefs are. That is the number one thing that I've taken away from all of life, is to completely trust myself.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom today. So before we go, share with us, all of us, ways that our members could connect with you outside of this interview, like your website or social media or anything that you have going on that you think that they might find value in.
Yeah, well, probably 2 ways. One, I do free discovery calls for anyone that's new to me. I have different ways you can work with me, and that's just a call where we can connect and see if I'm a good fit for you or not. And you can just go to jessicavalor.com/discovery. Really simple, and then you can check out the rest of the website. And then I have a program right now where I'm helping women entrepreneurs who are on a spiritual journey, or women who are in leadership positions and careers. And it's called the Ascended Healers Academy.com. Kind of long, I know, but AscendedHealersAcademy.com. And if you go to jessicavalor.com, you can find it under courses and coaching to a link out. But that's a program that starts on 2/2, February 2nd. It's a 12-week program. It's live with me, 1 hour a week. And there are 13 alchemy classes. So I'm teaching you all of these things, the how to stay in the vortex. And here's the tools and the resources to do that in an easy, tangible way that you can really assimilate that. So that's a pretty awesome program. And if somebody from Flora's group wants in, I can definitely give you like a discount or something like that. So you can check it out. And if it seems like something you're interested in, maybe email me at info@jessicavalor.com and I'll hook you up. I'll give you a sweet deal.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put all the links below for all your stuff, like your Instagram, all your social media. I'll put all the links to that, like below this video. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule and sharing your words of wisdom and your guidance and all that jazz for all of us. I really appreciate it. And I know that my people are just going to love you.
Well, thank you so much. It's an honor to be with you, Flora. I love all the work you're doing. And you ladies are really blessed to have this gorgeous leader helping you.
Oh, thank you.